I literally got pulled over one time, Long Island, for doing somewhere in excess of 180 miles an hour, and the cop was like, I just want to take pictures of your car. Somewhere around 2002, 2003, I was in Englishtown for a car show, happened to be with Dado. We were walking through the parking lot, and I saw, like, in the far distance, like an LX Mustang, stock LX, no GT rims, no nothing. And it had Japanese stickers on the back window, and I was like, what the hell is that? And I'm looking, and right at the back where it should say LX, here's the GTR symbol from a Skyline. But this is before Skylines were here. This is before YouTube. This is before Motorex started bringing them in California. So I was like, he's got the GTRs. I was like, yo, I'm going to get this guy. So I had a Teckademics press pass, and I had my camera. And I was like, Dado, come on. I was like, yo, let me go interview this guy. So I walk up on him, and I was like, hey, how are you? I was like, really like your car. I was like, can you give me a quick interview? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And I was like, so this is a GTR? And he was like, yeah, it's a GTR. And I was like, oh, that's super cool. Is that the model or the edition? And he was like, yeah, it's a special edition. And I was like, oh, special edition. I was like, so what do you have in it? And he was like, oh, it's turbo. And I was like, really? It's turbo? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, what kind of intercooler do you have? And he was like, and as soon as he paused, I was like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I got him. It came with it. So I was like, oh, it came with it? Special package? Came with the intercooler? Yeah. And I felt bad for the guy. I was like, because I was going to pull him apart. And I felt bad. So I was like, I tried to like walk away, and I was like, okay, yo, it's real nice. And as I'm walking, he's like, it's doing 11s. Hi, man. Very nice.
It's doing 11 on the track.
Now, 11s were like unheard of in those days. Like, no one's doing 11s. Like, MK4 Supras with 700 horsepower were doing 12s. So he's like, it's doing 11s. So I was like, you're really going to reel me back in? I'm coming for it. So I come back, and I'm like, yeah, so what do you got in there? I was like, is this a rotary? And he was like, yeah. I was like, with pistons? And he was like, yeah. And I was just like, yo, I got to get out of here. But I was like, yo, it's real nice. And I walked away. And I gave that footage to Dustin, who put it as a bonus item on the original Mischief 3000 video and like called it Domestic Rice. It took off as like one of the biggest parts of that entire film, even though it was basically about Gumball, which I should have been on. But my car at the time, my NSX, had a f***ed up clutch. Never made it. And Dado and Dustin took the yellow M3. But speaking of my NSX, I used to have a sign on it. It was a 95 NSXT. It was Midnight Pearl, which is essentially like purple, like navy blue purple. And it was one of 9 in the country. And I was also at the time military, Army. And shortly after having it for a year or so, 9/11 happened. And I felt super strongly about, the towers coming down and terrorism and this and that. So I had put in 3-inch vinyl white letters across the entire back of the NSX, Osama bin Laden. And before the word viral was associated with any type of pop media, it went viral. Partially because Dado had taken pictures of it and put it on dtmpower.net, which was the biggest BMW forum at the time. It worked to my advantage because the cops love me. I literally got pulled over one time, Long Island, for doing somewhere in excess of 180 miles an hour, and the cop was like, I just want to take pictures of your car. Yeah, that was pretty legendary. So getting back to that video of the Domestic Rice, no one knows it's me because my face isn't in the video. All you can hear is my voice. So essentially, I'm like the Irish Mandalorian. Like, if I don't take my helmet off, nobody knows it's me. Somehow, Jalopnik got a hold of it and named it the #1 trolling video of all time in automotive history. I can't deal with these people with the M badges on their stock 3 Series. Like, who are you fooling? You fooling men? Because women don't know. They don't care. I was down living in D.C. at the time, which is where Dado and Dustin were from. And we were just all together all the time. And I was always doing reckless always. And I was always filming. Like when I had gone to Japan, I filmed in Japan, and those segments made it into the Reckless clips on Mischief. I think Invasion and Destroy. I went to Germany, and I filmed there. And those clips made it in. but we were always doing something. I remember one time we went up to Philly for the street races to meet at the time like the CKY Jackass guys. And we ended up running into or meeting Ryan G, who was the videographer for all the CKY videos and most of Bam Margera's like initial Jackass videos. And he was with Josh Kalis, pro skateboarder for DC, and DGK, and big avid, super avid car guy, and Kerry Getz. And we linked up with them and we went to the Philly street race, and Ryan G kept bothering Josh. Josh at the time had an M5, E39 M5. And he was like, yo, you got to let TMinus drive your car. You got to let TMinus drive your car. And Josh was like, what's so good? I don't understand. What's the big deal? And he was like, fine, yo, T, go ahead. You can drive my car. So he gets in the passenger seat and we drive it. And I launch it at like, I don't know, like 5,000 RPM, first gear, right? And the back comes flying out. So I'm steering up this block, back and forth, one hand, and I shift so fast from first to second that I rip the shift knob off and the shift boot. And I'm holding it in my hand and the back is coming out. And then I dropped that on his lap, like it was all like one motion. And I dropped it and I shifted to third and we went straight. And he was like, yo, you're a gnarly driver. And I was like, yo, good looking out. But I felt terrible because I ripped his shift boot off and his shift knob. And but it was a dope time.
We'd like to thank this month's VINwiki sponsor, Carly, and their connected car system. Their OBD device plugs into just about any car, 96 and newer, and gives you unprecedented access to exactly what's going on with your car. You get not only diagnostic codes to see exactly what's faulting, which tends to be a lot in my case, but you can also do different coding to certain cars, particularly BMW and Volkswagen products. So visit the link in the description below and you can use the code VINwiki for a discount. They'll tell you exactly what their device can do on your specific car, but at the very least it works as the best OBD scanner that I've ever seen. I usually end up just buying the cheap ones at Advanced Auto Parts and then inevitably losing them. This one works with an app on your phone, it checks everything, and I don't have to go Google the code, it tells you exactly what it is. And so I've liked playing around with it the last few weeks. I'm gonna keep one with me on all my road trips coming up, but be sure to check them out and try one out for yourself.